Okay, so hey everyone, and welcome to our first live video. You guys have been asking for this for a little while, so I'm just going to turn myself down, so otherwise that's going to be a bit weird. Yes, welcome to our first live video. Yeah, you guys have been asking for this for a while, and I'm just kind of excited. You know, in Thursday Therapy, we kind of, you guys ask me a question, I think about what answer I want to give you, and we kind of go from there. But with this, I'm just going to sort of start to talk about a topic that I want to talk to you guys about. It might be something that that comes from my work with clients, just a little insight we've had from a session, or it could be, I've got some access to some awesome health professionals in this space. So today I'm going to go through something that I've learned, and it could be just something like an insight that I have from my own life. So I'm really kind of excited to get this happening with you guys. This is like the first one of these that we've done, so I'm going to try and figure out how I can see your comments and see how this is all working, but I'm sure that we're going to get there. So what do I want to talk to you about today? I think I want to talk to you about just the morning routine and how to kind of set yourself up on the right foot, and maybe one thing to do and one thing not to do. The thing that I think that I want to talk about first, which is what I've titled the bad news, is talk about something that you could maybe take out of your morning routine, which is watching the news. One way you can think of your brain as like a computer, and if you're filling your files with all of this information before you start the day, then it's kind of like you're overloading your computer. So you might want to put yourself on a bit of what Tim Ferriss calls a low information diet, and start to take out some of that unnecessary information. So I don't know if people watch the news too much, but I, as a little experiment yesterday, watched just the morning news, and I wrote down what the stories were, because I was kind of wanted to think about, well, what am I filling my brain with every morning? So this is what we came up with, and I hope you've got your coffee here. Or your tea, if you're like one of those soft people and you drink tea. Jokes. Okay, so what did we come up with in the news? Firstly, there was a story about drugs. There was a football boss stepped down for allegedly taking drugs. The second thing that came up was there was a fire. I don't know whether it was in Sydney or Melbourne, I can't remember, but Sydney or Melbourne, there was a fire in a workshop and it looked a bit suspect. Then straight after that, we had another fire. 2 cars were torched outside someone's house. Then there was a death, a mystery death at home that the police were investigating. Then there was more drugs. The Australian girl who was allegedly busted for trying to bring drugs back into Australia. So this is the sort of the tone that we're getting so far. Then we had a new French president. So there's some news there. There was some news on a pensioners payout, a politician on fraud charges, and Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Lucky Prince Harry. So if we look at that, we think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 bad news stories that I don't necessarily know are relevant to you or me or anyone else. And then a little bit of news in there. So I think that's probably pretty typical of what the news is. So it would be interesting thinking about, a lot of people talk to me about time management. Glenn, I don't have enough time. I think that's a common thing, and I think it's actually a good problem to have, because it means you've got lots of things that hopefully you want to do. But I always like to look at what are those things that we do that actually suck our time and suck our energy, and potentially if you watch the morning news, that's one of them. So what I did this morning was try to replace that technique, because then the next question comes, well, what do I kind of replace it with? I got Foxtel, and I put on like smooth music. It was like smooth music channel or something. And see you, Jen.
See ya.
And it's the last client. It's okay. She said it was okay that I use her name, so don't stress about that. And I got 2 songs. I got Michael Bublé, so good. I don't know which song it is. They're all kind of a bit the same. And then Tears for Fears, that Everybody Wants to Rule the World song. So for me, as I'm sitting there eating my breakfast, watching that versus watching TV. I know we're not supposed to watch TV while we eat, but I'm not big on any rules. It was such a nice experience to just listen to that music. So that's what I want you to kind of have a think about, and have a think about, well, for me, what is an alternative routine that I could use? Could I watch some music? Could I listen to some music? Maybe I just want to just kind of chill out and just eat my food and just pay attention to the food. So I just want you to have a think about that, the morning routines, of maybe replacing that morning routine of watching the news, if that's what you do, with something that's going to work better. And that's the real question. It's, what do I do? It doesn't really matter what you do. It's just about what works better for you as a unique individual. The other thing that I wanted to discuss with you, and I'm just going to see if I can actually see if anyone is commenting on this stuff so I can sort of say hello to you. Now's the time to have a sip of your coffee or your tea. Oh, cool. Marie's talking about mindful eating. I love it. Yep. Sorry, Marie. I do like what I call an everyday mindfulness, which means I incorporate mindful eating principles into my eating, but without any rules. I think for a lot of people, you feel like you have to be like a Zen master and kind of light a candle and then levitate and eat your food. But I think even if you incorporate a little bit of mindfulness into your day, that goes a long way. So what I like to do when I'm watching TV is I will watch the TV, then in the ad breaks, that's when I pay more attention to my food. So I'm sort of switching my attention. I know that kind of optimally I wouldn't have the TV on at all, but I kind of like lying down on my rug and watching TV. So that's kind of what I do, but I incorporate a bit of mindfulness in that I don't watch the TV and eat like this. I switch my attention, and typically I kind of wait for the ad break and then pay a little bit more attention to my food. Oh, Ali, love your work, changing my life. You're so welcome. Nadia, love it. Coffee, my morning routine. Yeah, that's what I'm actually thinking about in these videos, is having this, like, calling it like a cup of coffee with Glenn or something, because these videos are probably, although as you're realizing I like to talk a lot, they're probably going to be shorter than my usual Thursday therapy, so we can sort of have them as a little kind of just a little coffee break and catch up and find out a good idea. All right, Brenda, what's cracking? Miles, how you doing, mate? All right, let's keep going and let's move on to the next thing that I want to talk to you about, which is power poses. So this is a really interesting kind of a thought. So I was emceeing this conference on the weekend called Mind Heart Connect. Amazing conference. Thank you to Peter Stapleton and Kate Helder for putting it on. It was so cool. And I was fortunate enough to be the MC for the event. And one of all the speakers were just amazing. But one of the speakers that was really, really cool was a guy named Dr. David Hamilton. I would recommend that you look him up. And actually, I'll give you a link to some of his details. Really, really interesting guy. And has written several books, and the one that he was talking to us about was a book called I Heart Me, and his presentation was about the science of self-love, which was really kind of interesting stuff that I don't think we normally would equate scientific research into self-love. But he was beautiful. He talked about his personal journey with being bullied as a kid and having this external self-esteem that came from being a published author and achieving a lot in his career, but then this lack of internal self-love. And that's, I think, something that a lot of people that I see struggle with. But the most important thing to me was he added this beautiful science in, and through experimentation with himself comes up with these beautifully practical ways to boost your self-esteem, to increase your self-love. And one of those was what he calls power poses. And he said this is the first thing that he experimented with in his journey of self-love. And it was really, really interesting because during the workshop, he said, I want us to practice our own power pose, which is basically like, how like Superman kind of stands like this, or, Wonder Woman sort of stands like this. And what he explained to us was that obviously the emotional and the core subconscious parts of our brain, they're linked to our face and the rest of our body. That's why what you can tell when someone's not feeling great, it's the wiring is linked into our nervous system, into our muscles. Or if someone's feeling very confident, very calm, very relaxed, it shows in their posture. So in a sense, these power poses are almost like what, your mum or dad might have said. It's like, stand up straight, because he said the feedback loop from a neurological point of view goes both ways. If you're not feeling very powerful, not feeling very self-loving, not feeling very relaxed, it will show in the muscles in your face and your body. But then if you can change your body's physiology, your posture, your alignment, that sends a signal to your brain to calm yourself down. Whereas most of us, we kind of, if we're not feeling great, we shrink down, our posture gets worse, and then it becomes this continuous feedback loop that makes our brain sort of reinforces those feelings. But he actually trained himself through his body, and I love that it was, he talked through a lot of the science behind it, but at the end it was very simple. It was just, and he recommended to people to stand in this power pose for a couple of minutes a day. And he said for him, that was the first step. He said, I had zero self-love before that. He said, I could recognize I'd done great things in life and I'd accomplished a lot, but it wasn't until I started practicing these poses that I could actually feel, hey, I'm okay deep within myself and who I am. So I thought what we would do is actually practice a little power pose. Selena says, Wonder Woman pose, my daily switch on for power. This is awesome. Okay, Kit's with me. Kit says, I do power poses before exams. All right, this is so cool. I reckon let's do a power pose now. We might hold it for like a minute or maybe a couple of minutes, and we'll just see what happens. And it can be anything. Like he had the whole audience doing it, and we were doing like rock star poses, and there were some really funny ones. But I reckon let's just do it for a minute or so. Oh, and I'll tell you a little story while we're doing it. Make sure that it was really interesting for me. So get up into your power pose, and if you want to share a little photo or a video of you doing your power pose, I'd love to see it. So for me, it was funny because David was talking about being really nervous to speak. He talked about a couple of big speaking gigs that he had where he was really nervous, and one of them he just wanted to literally crawl. He said, I either wanted to get on the ground and start crying or to do a run-up. And it was really funny. He was talking about some speaking with really, really big names, and I thought this was my first role emceeing any big conference, and I got to admit, I was pretty nervous myself, and it was so good for me to be doing this power pose as part of the workshop, because it just instantly helped me feel like, hey, it's okay, Glenn. It's cool. You've got this. Feels nice. Feel a bit more straight, a bit more relaxed, a bit more powerful. And he said, it doesn't have to be like I'm, He-Man or I'm Wonder Woman. You can have a bit more of a relaxed pose. If you're feeling a bit stressed, you might want to relax yourself down a bit with your power pose. It's about whatever you want to channel, but opening that connection between the body and the mind. So that might be a good alternative for you to very nice. A good alternative for you to do in the morning rather than watching the news. Emma, good to see you're doing your power pose downstairs. I need to see what this is like. And Ryan McStay, Rhino, I need to see what your power pose is. Oh, Lisa, Emma, we need to know. We all know she is Wonder Woman. We do know Emma is Wonder Woman. Emma, I'll tell you a quick little story about her. We mucked up our first client. She was supposed to be an 8 a.m.er, but we thought she was in for 7. Emma was on the phone to her last night at 11 o'clock and offered to go and pick her up from her house so we could get her here early. How many practice managers would do that? Emma, you are a bit like Wonder Woman. Selena, you teach this stuff? Kezia, just make sure I've got that name right. That was cool and weird. I found myself opening my hands with them facing the ground. I feel so charged. Janelle, I wish I wasn't on the bus so I could do my power pose. Dr. David Hamilton shared with us some hilarious stories of himself doing power poses and power dances and being caught out by, scores of 40 builders and stuff. So, yeah. Jen, always a pleasure, always a pleasure. Nicole gets it. I love the power pose. Such an amazing thing to do every morning. So excited to see David do on the weekend. Yeah, Nicole, this was a completely new thing for me. So very, very cool. And often I think we think, I loved it because it was so practical. This is simple, such a complex, deep area like self-love, confidence, happiness, and we can literally move a step towards that just by adopting a pose for a minute or two and doing that in a way that actually makes us feel great straight away. So very, very cool. Yeah, very easy, very effective. Totally agree. Gail, that was good. Awesome. Well, I want to see these power poses, guys. So make sure that you show them to me. And you know what? I gotta say thank you so much for pushing me to do these live videos. I've had tons of fun with you, and I'm really looking forward to doing more in the future. Make sure you like the Glenn Mackintosh page if you want to get them live, or if I'm going to do them at all different times. So if you don't think that you'll be able to get to everyone, which you probably won't, I'll make another note. I'll give you David Hamilton's details, and I'll give you the details of our YouTube channel so you can sign up to that, because we're going to publish each of these to the YouTube so you can watch it anytime. Anyway, guys, I hope this has been a part of your wonderful morning routine, and thank you very much for being with me, and I'll look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have an awesome day.